I'm still shaking as I type this. I don't know what I'm hoping to get out of posting here. Maybe validation, maybe advice, maybe just not to feel completely insane. Anyway, my wife and I have been together for 10 years, married for 6. I thought we were solid. We're both professionals, no kids. Just a golden retriever who probably understands loyalty better than either of us. Things started getting weird maybe 6 months ago. Nothing explosive, just little things. She was glued to her phone more. Started working late, but wouldn't pick up when I called. She got cold, short-tempered, like I was more of a roommate than a partner. But I brushed it off. Everyone goes through phases, right? I even blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't being attentive enough, maybe I'd gotten boring. That was the first lie I told myself. Then last Thursday, I did something I've never done in our entire relationship. I looked at her phone. She was in the shower, music playing, and her screen lit up with a text preview. Can't wait to see you again tonight. Last time was fire. I stared at that message like it was written in another language. My heart just stopped. I didn't unlock the phone. I didn't need to. I already knew. That was the exact moment my life split in two, the before and the after. I wish I could tell you I confronted her right away. I didn't. Instead, I stood in the bathroom doorway like a goddamn ghost, listening to her sing along to some Dua Lipa song like she hadn't just detonated my reality. I didn't even cry. I just froze. When she got out of the shower, I pretended everything was normal. She kissed me on the cheek, said she was heading out to yoga. I nodded, watched her grab her gym bag, watched her toss in her perfume. Perfume for yoga? That night, while she was stretching her soul, I tore our apartment apart looking for answers. I'm not proud of that. I went through drawers, emails, even her laptop. Thankfully, she hadn't logged out. It was like peeling back skin, painful but revealing. There were messages, lots of them, mostly on Instagram, tucked away in the hidden folder. She was smart enough not to text him directly too much, but not smart enough to cover every track. His name was Kyle. I'll never forget it. Generic, like he came free with a douchebag starter pack. They'd been meeting up for months. Hotel receipts, flirty exchanges, photos that made me physically gag. She told him she felt alive with him, that I wouldn't even notice if she disappeared. I wish I could say I was angry. I wasn't. Not yet. I was hollow, like someone had scooped out my insides and left just skin and shame. And then I saw something that made it so much worse. She had told him she was planning to leave me after the holidays, like I was a subscription she didn't want to cancel just yet. I sat there in the dark, her laptop glowing like it was mocking me, and finally, I cried. Not quietly either. Ugly, shaking sobs, the kind that make your dog whimper and crawl into your lap. She got home around 10, smiled, said, "Yoga was so good tonight." I looked at her and I knew. The mask she wore, the lies, the casual cruelty. It was all real. And still, I said nothing. But I wouldn't stay silent for long. The next morning, I woke up before her. I watched her sleep for a while, and I know that sounds creepy, but it wasn't out of love. I was looking at a stranger wearing my wife's face. A face I used to kiss every night before bed. Now it felt like a disguise. I made coffee like usual. She strolled into the kitchen in her robe, smiling, acting like everything was fine. I asked how yoga was. She said it was intense. I nearly laughed. She had no idea I'd seen the messages. No clue I knew about Kyle. I decided I needed more than just texts. I needed something undeniable. Something she couldn't gaslight her way out of. So I called out of work, told her I had a client meeting downtown. She kissed me goodbye. Still lying, still humming like nothing was off. But I didn't go to work. I followed her. I felt disgusting doing it, like some stalker. But I had to know. I had to see it. I needed my brain to catch up to what my heart already knew. She didn't go to yoga. Of course not. She drove straight to a little boutique hotel 20 minutes away, parked like she'd done it 100 times. I sat across the street, engine off, trying not to vomit. Then he showed up. Kyle. Looked like he walked straight out of a Men's Health magazine and into a Pitbull music video. Muscles, too tight jeans, smug as hell. She kissed him right there in the parking lot. Not just a peck. A movie kiss. That was the moment my heart broke out loud. I took photos. Felt gross. But I knew she'd deny it. I needed proof for myself too. So I wouldn't let her convince me I was crazy. She'd done it before. Gaslight me when I brought up her weird behavior. You're so paranoid. You don't trust me? Now I had evidence. They went inside. I didn't follow. I couldn't. I sat there with my phone in one hand and my marriage in the other, and I felt both slipping away. I drove home. Sat in the living room. Waited. I was done playing dumb. She was about to walk into an ambush. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. She walked in like nothing happened. It was around 2 p.m. She had that post-yoga glow. Hair a little tousled. Lipstick freshly reapplied. She even brought a smoothie home like she'd actually been working out. I was sitting on the couch. Didn't even say hi. Just watched her take off her shoes like she wasn't 5 hours deep into betrayal. She looked at me and cocked her head. You okay? You look pale. I didn't answer. Just nodded at the dining table. She followed my eyes, saw the stack of printed messages, the hotel receipt, the parking lot photos. I watched her brain buffer. For half a second, she looked like someone who just got caught shoplifting on camera. Then she went cold. You went through my stuff? Not, this isn't what it looks like. Not, please, let me explain. Not even guilt. Just pure, calculated indignation. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, who is Kyle? Silence. Then, he's just a friend. You're blowing this out of proportion. I laughed. I actually laughed. The gall. The straight-faced lie after everything. I held up the photo, the kiss in the parking lot. This look like a friendship hug to you? She rolled her eyes. Rolled. Her. Eyes. Oh my God, it was a mistake, okay? One time. I wasn't going to tell you because it didn't mean anything. I pointed to the hotel receipt. You've been seeing him since February. She blinked. Calculating. Cornered, but not panicked. Fine. Yes. We've been seeing each other. But it's because of you. You've been so distant lately. I felt unwanted. I needed connection. That hit like a truck. Not because it was true, it wasn't, but because I realized in that moment she genuinely believed she was the victim. I stood up. So you screw some guy in a hotel room for a connection and I'm the one who's supposed to feel guilty? And here's where she dropped the real bomb. If you were more of a man, maybe I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. Yeah. She said that. I don't remember what I said after that. My ears were ringing. My vision went white around the edges. I walked out of the apartment and drove. No destination. Just away. Because if I stayed, I would have screamed until my throat bled. Or cried. Or both. And I wasn't giving her that satisfaction. I drove for hours. No music. No destination. Just the sound of tires on asphalt and my heart breaking in real time. Every few miles, my brain would replay her words. If you were more of a man. It wasn't just cheating. It was character assassination. She didn't just betray me, she blamed me for it. At some point, I ended up at an overlook where we used to go during our early dating days. I sat on the hood of my car and stared at the city lights, wondering how long I'd been living in a lie. I checked my phone. 8 missed calls. 4 texts. All from her. Can we talk? I didn't mean to say that. I was emotional. You're overreacting. Come home so we can work this out. No, I'm sorry. No, I was wrong. Just emotional cleanup. Pee or spin. Like I was a mess she needed to mop up. I slept in the car. Couldn't bear to see her. Couldn't go to a friend's, not yet. I didn't want anyone to know what happened. I felt ashamed. And isn't that the kicker? She cheats, she lies, and I'm the one sitting in a freezing car, trying to figure out what I did wrong. Next morning, I went home around 6 a.m. She was up, sitting at the kitchen table wearing a sweatshirt like she was trying to look soft and approachable. She looked up. Her eyes were red. Can we please talk? I didn't sit. I just said, are you still seeing him? She hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. Yes. That was it. My stomach turned to stone. I said, then there's nothing to talk about. She followed me down the hall, pleading. We've had problems for a while. I didn't know how to bring it up. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I turned around and said the truest thing I've ever said. You didn't fall into this. You chose it. Repeatedly. With planning. She didn't respond. Just stood there blinking like someone who ran out of lies. That was the moment I knew I couldn't stay. Not even for one more night. Not for her. Not for us. Not for the dog. She'd already left this relationship, I was just catching up. I packed a bag. Just the essentials: laptop, a few changes of clothes, toothbrush, chargers. As I zipped it up, she sat on the edge of the bed and said, "So that's it? You're just leaving?" Like I was bailing on her. I looked at her and said, "I'm not the one who left. You did when you climbed into his car the first time and decided I didn't matter anymore." She stood up, angry now. "So you're just giving up? 10 years down the drain." I wanted to scream. Instead, I laughed bitterly. 10 years didn't go down the drain today. It went down when you stopped respecting me and started planning hotel meetups behind my back. She crossed her arms. "You act like you were some perfect husband. You've been cold for months." I snapped. "Cold? I was trying to fix what I didn't know was broken. You were screwing someone else and blaming me for not reading your damn mind." Silence. For once, she had nothing. That's when I dropped the hammer. "I'm leaving. You can keep the apartment for now. But I'm done being your emotional punching bag while you ride 2 relationships like you're on a damn carousel." And here's the twist I didn't expect. She broke down. Tears, full on sobbing, grabbing at my arm like she was drowning. I didn't mean for this to happen. I was confused. I felt lonely. "Kyle doesn't mean anything, I swear, eh?" I pulled away. "He didn't mean anything, but you risked everything for him? Make that make sense." She just cried harder. I don't know if it was guilt, shame, or just the panic of losing her safety net. I left. Got in my car. Drove to my brother's place on the other side of the city. Didn't call ahead. Just showed up at 9 a.m. looking like hell. He opened the door and took one look at me before saying, "She cheated, didn't she?" I nodded. That was the first time I'd said it out loud. It felt like swallowing glass. He didn't ask questions. Just hugged me and said, "You're not staying there. Not after this." So now I'm on his pull-out couch, half living out of a duffel bag, trying to figure out what the hell just happened to my life. And the craziest part? She still thinks we're going to talk this out. 3 days. That's how long she waited before trying to rewrite history. It started with a long, rambling text. Over a dozen paragraphs. No punctuation. Just emotional vomit. She said she was sorry, truly sorry, but she didn't cheat out of malice. She did it because she was emotionally neglected. Because she felt invisible. Because Kyle just listened. Yeah, I bet he did. With his pants off. The part that really sent me over the edge? She said, "I didn't think you'd care this much. You've been so distant. I thought we were already over. So let me get this straight." She didn't just cheat, she pre-grieved the relationship and decided that somehow made it okay? But wait, it gets better. She called my mom. My mom. Told her we were having a rough patch and that she hoped I'd come to my senses soon. Told her she still loved me. Told her I was being dramatic. My mom, bless her, smelled the BS right away. She called me after and said, "Honey, she sounds like someone who's more scared of being alone than sorry for what she did." And that hit me hard. Because it was true. She wasn't apologizing, she was scrambling. Trying every angle. Emotional guilt. Historical revision. Even weaponizing my family. Meanwhile, Kyle was still around. I knew it. I could feel it. A woman doesn't turn off that kind of thing overnight. But she wanted me to believe she cut contact. Spoiler, she didn't. A mutual friend reached out, someone who works near the boutique hotel. He texted me and said, "I saw her and that guy again yesterday. Same spot." She was still seeing him. While texting me apologies. While calling my mom. While claiming she wanted to fix things. That was the moment the fog really started to lift. The part of me that was still hoping for some version of her to show up, the honest version, the person I married, died right then. This wasn't about healing. It wasn't even about guilt. It was about control. She couldn't stand that I left first. I blocked her. Phone. Instagram. Email. Every digital string connecting her to me snipped. But it wasn't an impulsive move. I sat on it for a whole day, just stewing. I thought maybe she'd have some epiphany, maybe own what she did, really own it. Nope. Instead, I got another "Hey, can we just talk?" message followed an hour later by, "You're being so immature about this. I've made mistakes, but you're acting like I'm a monster." That was the final straw. I realized she wasn't sorry. She was exposed. There's a big difference. So I sent one last message, short, cold, final. "You made your choice. I'm done playing the role of a disposable husband. Don't contact me again." And then I blocked everything. What happened next? She lost her *****ing mind. She emailed me from a work address. She tried to Venmo me 1 cent with a note. "Please just hear me out." She created a burner Instagram and followed me. Sent a DM that said, "I know you still love me. The silence is cruel." Cruel? Lady, you cheated, lied, gaslit me, then tried to make me the villain. Blocking her didn't just protect me, it exposed her. Because once I cut off her ability to manipulate, she had no script left to run. Just panic. Just desperation. A week later, my brother saw her car parked outside his building. She never knocked. Just sat there for over an hour and then left. Like a ghost trying to haunt its way back into a house that changed the locks. The crazy thing? I still had moments of weakness. Still had flashes of what if? What if she really meant it? What if I was too cold? What if we could have fixed it? But then I'd reread the messages, the hotel receipts, the gaslighting, and I'd remember she didn't make a mistake. She made a series of decisions, and I was never one of them. Just when I thought I'd hit emotional rock bottom, it turns out there was a basement. It happened the next Friday. I was staying at my brother's place, trying to pull myself together. Got a haircut. Started running again. Downloaded a journaling app because apparently writing WTF happened to my life? 100 times counts as healing. Then I got a call from Mark. Mark is a mutual friend. We're not super close, but he was at our wedding. His wife used to hang out with mine a lot, brunches, wine nights, that kind of thing. He says, "Hey, I heard what happened. I just wanted to reach out because I think there's more you should know." My stomach dropped. Mark proceeds to tell me that about a year ago, a full year, his wife mentioned something weird about mine, that she was getting too close to a guy at her office. Not Kyle. Someone else. Eric. Apparently, she and Eric had some weird late-night work projects. Inside jokes, flirty comments in front of other coworkers. It made people uncomfortable. Mark says, "I didn't want to stir anything up at the time, and I wasn't sure how serious it was. But now with Kyle, dude, I think this wasn't the first time." I hung up. Just sat there, jaw clenched, hands shaking. I did what I told myself I wouldn't do. I pulled out my backup drive and went digging into our old shared files, backups, cloud accounts. Found a folder buried inside another folder, labeled 2023 taxes. Of course, inside, screenshots, conversations, photos. It had been going on for over 6 months. Same pattern, emotional buildup, flirting, hotel meetups, lies. That meant Kyle wasn't an accident. He was just the latest. And I realized something sickening. This woman, the one I thought I knew better than anyone, had multiple lives. One for me, one for her lovers, one for her friends, each one carefully crafted. I was her safe option, her backup. Every kind thing she said to me, every "I love you," every future plan. It all felt counterfeit now. She didn't just betray me once. She repeatedly auditioned for a new life behind my back, and only kept me around as the understudy in case the leads didn't work out. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, wondering, how many more are there? Was our entire marriage a lie? The worst part wasn't the cheating. It was how normal she made it seem. How she looked me in the eyes and still said she loved me. Once the shock of the second affair settled, if that's even the right word, coagulated feels more accurate. The next wave hit. Who else knew? Because here's the thing. Affairs don't stay neatly contained. They leak. They slip through whispers at work, half-heard phone calls, drunk confessions to friends. And I started wondering, did anyone warn me? Did anyone protect me? So I started reaching out. Quietly, methodically. One friend, let's call her Jess, used to be close to both of us. I sent her a simple message. "Hey, did you ever notice anything weird between my wife and Kyle or Eric?" She called me instantly. Her first words? "You finally found out, huh?" Felt like a punch to the throat. Jess said she never had proof, but she absolutely picked up on things. Long glances, inside jokes that weren't funny, weird tension at group dinners. She even confronted my wife once about Kyle, and my wife cut her off completely after that. Jess told me, "I wanted to tell you, but she made it clear that if I did, I'd lose both of you." I didn't know what to do. I understood. I wasn't even mad, just hollow, and it kept happening. A cousin mentioned odd comments my wife made at a family barbecue last summer. Stuff about how she felt trapped or wasn't sure she wanted kids with me. Stuff I never heard from her face. I started seeing the cracks in our story that everyone else saw before I did. And what really broke me? Our dog, kept sleeping by the front door. Like he was waiting for her to come home. He didn't understand betrayal. He just missed her smell. Missed the routine. He didn't know she'd thrown a grenade into our lives and walked away from the explosion like it was a Tuesday. Meanwhile, I was canceling joint credit cards, moving my name off the lease, separating bank accounts. Death by 1,000 logistics. Friends were taking sides. Some were neutral. A few blocked her. One or two people I thought were mine stayed silent. One texted me, "Relationships are complicated. Try not to judge her too harshly." I didn't even respond. If that's your take after 2 confirmed affairs and a tsunami of lies, you're not someone I want in my corner. At night, I'd lie awake thinking about the person I married. Not her, the one I now knew. The version of her I loved. Was that person ever real? Or was she just the mask she wore until something better came along? It had been almost 3 weeks since I'd gone full no contact. I was starting to breathe like a human again. The world didn't feel like it was spinning every time I opened my eyes. I even went a full day without thinking about her. And when I realized that, it hit me harder than I expected. Not in a sad way. In a relieved way. Like I was finally detoxing from a poison I didn't even know I'd been drinking. But, of course, just as I was starting to find footing, she came back. It started with an email from a new address. "Can we talk? One last time. I know I messed up. I'm in therapy. I just need to say a few things. You owe me that." "Oh, I owe you?" Wild. I didn't respond. I deleted it. Then, 3 days later, she showed up. In person. I had just stepped out of my brother's apartment to take the dog for a walk. She was standing by the building's entrance like some sad little redemption arc hoodie. No makeup, red eyes. Like she'd practiced this scene in the mirror. "Hey," she said soft. Like we were old friends meeting by coincidence. I didn't say a word. I've been doing a lot of thinking. A lot of work on myself. And I know I don't deserve anything. But I wanted to talk to you face to face. I asked one question. Just one. "Are you still seeing Kyle?" She didn't answer right away. That pause, half a second too long, told me everything. I turned to walk away, but she grabbed my arm. Not hard, but desperate. "I'm not with him. Not emotionally." I laughed. "You don't get to compartmentalize cheating into emotional and physical now. That's not how this works." She started crying. Or trying to. "I miss you. I miss us. I didn't realize what I had. You were the only real thing in my life." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You don't miss me. You miss the version of yourself you could be when I was around. The stable one. The good one. The forgiven one. You don't get that anymore." She stood there crying silently. Didn't chase me as I walked away. And that was the last time I saw her. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel vengeful. I just felt clean. Like I'd finally set fire to the lie and let the smoke carry it all away. There was no big movie moment. No sunrise epiphany. No background music swelling as I stood tall and declared, "I'm finally free." It was smaller than that. More ordinary. More real. I woke up one morning and realized I hadn't checked my phone, dreading a message from her. I didn't scan through old photos or reread text threads for clues. I just got up, made coffee, took the dog out. Peace wasn't loud. It was quiet. I started therapy. Best decision I've made in years. My therapist, shout out to Daniel, the human BS detector, didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. He told me what I needed to hear. You were in love with an idea, but you were married to a pattern. And the pattern was you give, she takes. You forgive, she repeats. That one hit like a gut punch. I spent the next few weeks unlearning things. Like how to stop blaming myself every time someone else does something selfish. How to sit in silence without trying to fix it. How to not turn betrayal into a personal flaw. I also picked up old hobbies I didn't even realize I abandoned. Started drawing again. Took the dog on trails I used to love before the relationship became my full-time emotional job. I told a few more people what happened. Slowly, cautiously. It got easier each time. Less shame. less trembling in my voice. One friend said, "Damn, man, you're handling this better than I would." I'm not sure if that's true. I just knew one thing. I wasn't going back. Not to her. Not to who I was with her. Not to the guy who tiptoed through his own marriage like he was afraid to wake a sleeping bomb. And yeah, there were bad nights. Nights where I missed the comfort, the routine. Where I almost picked up the phone and typed, "I hope you're okay," just to feel something again. But then I'd remember her voice saying, "If you were more of a man," and it would kill whatever was trying to grow back. Pain taught me something peace never could. My worth doesn't shrink just because someone else couldn't see it. By this point, I wasn't waiting for anything anymore. Not closure. Not justice. Not even karma. I'd stopped thinking in terms of her. Life was getting rebuilt around me, piece by jagged piece. So when the message came, it didn't land like a punch, it landed like a faint echo from a place I no longer lived in. It was from Kyle. Yeah, him. He found me on LinkedIn of all places, the most corporate way to crawl out of a dumpster fire. His message was short, awkward, and totally unexpected. "Hey man, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I feel like I need to clear the air. If you're open to it, I'd like to say something." I stared at the screen for a long time. Not angry. Not emotional. Just curious. I didn't respond right away. I showed it to my therapist, who simply asked, "Do you want closure or control?" That stuck with me. After thinking about it for a full day, I messaged back, "You've got one shot. Say it." The next day, he replied, "I didn't know she was married. Not at first. She told me you two were separated and just living together for financial reasons. She said she didn't love you anymore but didn't want to hurt you. I didn't believe all of it. But some parts, yeah, they tracked. That was her MO. Twist the truth just enough to stay innocent in her own narrative. Villain by technicality." Kyle went on. "When I found out, I confronted her. She said you were cold and controlling. I believed her. For a while. But eventually, it didn't add up. I ended it a couple weeks ago. She's been messaging me since. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry." There it was. Too little, too late. But still. Something. I didn't forgive him. Not really. But I also didn't rage at him either. Because in the end, he wasn't the architect of my pain. He was just a symptom of her disease. I replied, "Appreciate the honesty. Hope you heal too." Then I blocked him. Not out of spite, just finality. That chapter was closed. And for the first time in a long time, I realized something. I didn't want revenge. I wanted peace. And I was getting there. Slowly, quietly, and without her name written anywhere on the roadmap. A month later, I finalized the last of the logistics, bank accounts, shared subscriptions, even the Spotify family plan. You haven't lived until you see your ex's sad little playlist titled "Us" disappear from your dashboard. It was all done. Everything tying us together, legally or digitally, was gone. No more shared calendars. No more Christmas obligations with people who pretended not to know. No more walking on eggshells around a woman who mistook loyalty for convenience. And for the first time since this whole thing began, I exhaled without flinching. It wasn't one big moment, it was 100 small ones. The first time I walked into a restaurant and didn't check my phone for texts from her. The first time I laughed at a dumb show and didn't immediately think she would have hated this. The first time I realized I wasn't thinking about her at all. That's when I knew. I was free. Not bitter. Not broken. Just done. People always say forgiveness is for you, not them. I used to think that was crap. But now? I kind of get it. I didn't forgive her because she deserved it. I forgave her because I deserved peace. I forgave her because I didn't want to carry her with me anymore. She became just another story I tell. A cautionary tale with a sharp ending and a solid lesson. Don't fall in love with potential. Fall in love with reality, and if the reality hurts, walk. I'm not rushing anything. Not dating yet. Not forcing some inspirational rebirth. I'm just letting the dust settle. Letting myself exist without the weight. And in that space, something amazing started to happen. I started liking myself again. Not the version she molded. Not the one who begged for answers. The real me. The one I almost forgot existed. If you're reading this and you're in the middle of it, the suspicion, the gaslighting, the late nights staring at the ceiling wondering if you're crazy, let me tell you something with zero hesitation. You're not crazy. You're just being lied to. That's the worst part of infidelity. It's not the sex. It's not even the betrayal. It's the slow erosion of your sanity, being made to feel like you're paranoid when your gut is screaming for attention. What I learned painfully and slowly is this. When someone shows you a version of themselves you don't recognize, believe it. Don't wait for the real them to come back. That was the real them. Cheating isn't a mistake. It's a decision made over and over, in secret and protected by layers of lies. If they can lie to your face about where they've been, who they've seen, and still kiss you goodnight, you're sleeping next to a stranger. Closure isn't a conversation, it's a choice. You'll never get the perfect explanation, the satisfying apology, or the Hollywood-style reckoning. Sometimes the best closure is blocking them and not looking back. You can survive this. You might not feel like it now, but I promise you, there is a version of you on the other side of this pain that's stronger, wiser, and lighter than you've ever been. And finally, the part one wish someone had said to me on day one. It's okay to leave someone you love when they stop being safe. You are not weak for walking away. You are not broken for needing boundaries. You are not dramatic or overreacting or too emotional. You're human. And you deserve honesty. You deserve peace. You deserve love that doesn't require you to lose yourself to keep it. So if you're where I was, sitting in silence, trying to find the strength to leave, wondering if it's really that bad, let this be your sign. It's that bad. And you'll be okay. Maybe not today, but eventually. And when you are, it'll be the kind of okay that doesn't need permission anymore. Thanks for reading. Take care of yourself. And if no one's told you today, you deserve better. Always. Op.